Hej och hjärtligt välkomna till Investor Targets pressträff med Lahontan Gold. Lahontan Gold är ett kanadensiskt börsnoterat bolag fokuserat på prospektering och utvinning av guld i Nevada. Eftersom dagens bolag är engelskspråkigt kommer presentationen nu att fortsätta på engelska. Hello, welcome, and if you tune in to Pressträff from Canada, a very early and good morning to you. If you watch this live, you can, as always, interact with the management and asking questions, and you will do that using the top chat on this broadcast. Pressträff Direkt is a cooperation between Direkt Studios, Investor Target, Stock Picker, and the presenting company. This time it's brought to you by Scandinavian Alliance. Scandinavian Alliance is a full-service company and a company expert, and as such can connect any company to the Scandinavian and Northern European markets for financing. For further information, please go to scandinavian.com. So, with all the disclaimers under the belt, it's an absolute pleasure and high time to welcome Kimberly Ann, founder and CEO of Lahontan Gold Corporation. Kimberly, how are things?
Fantastic.
Excellent. So without further ado, the scene is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Ann, as you just heard. I'm the founder CEO of Lahontan Gold Corp. We have fantastic assets in Nevada, gold and silver assets. It's a fantastic jurisdiction to be in because we don't have any informal mining going on, any communities to have to deal with. We have our flagship asset called Santa Fe. It was a past producer back from 1988 to 1992. Now, the Walker Lane is a special place to be. We have many active mines around us. And because Santa Fe was a past producer, it allows us to go back and fast track this back into production in a shorter timeline than someone that was starting from ground zero. Why did it stop in 1992? Simply economics. Gold was only $340 an ounce. It's really hard to make money at $340 an ounce. They were making money back then, but it did shut down because of that. But what happened for us is we inherited a lot of ounces in the ground. We put out our maiden resource estimate of 1.7 million ounces back in January of last year. And that consisted of over 1 million oxide ounces and the rest in sulfide ounces. The oxide ounces are easily extractable through heap leaching, and we are continuing to grow this number and take it back into production. We recently purchased an asset called West Santa Fe, which is an absolute lookalike to Santa Fe proper. This asset is only 13 kilometers away. It allows us to drill this out and maybe make this as a satellite operation, meaning instead of building a full operation, we would do this as sharing admins and trucking our material over to Santa Fe proper to be processed. So a very great opportunity for the company, and we got it for very, very low cost and low risk to the company. We also have two other assets called Moho and Redlick. Moho is a high-grade gold and silver asset that is a vein system. So to mine this, you would have to do this as an underground operation, but very, very high grade. And we won't be focused on that today, but it is something to look at in the future. Redlick is a silver project right next door to a very famous mine called the Candelaria, which was an open pit silver project back that mined for 30 years. So great assets in a great jurisdiction. So when we talk about Nevada, it is considered the #1 jurisdiction in the world. Why is that important? Well, when you think about investing in a company, you want to be able to de-risk it. And #1 in my mind is, where is it? Can you get a permit to mine it? Size, scale is important. So you need a district scale land package. You need to be able to permit it. So that comes back to the jurisdiction. We have very favorable, people in government to work with when it comes to permitting. We're very fortunate from that stance. Infrastructure, we have year-round access. For example, if you're working in Alaska, sometimes you have to fly in and out, on a plane to get to your project. That's expensive, and you certainly don't have year-round access. So this allows us to continue to work throughout the year and do all of our work 24/7. Because it was a mine in production, we have 3 wells on the property. All the water access rights to this. We monitor this on a quarterly basis because this is considered a mine under closure. Adjacent to us is an operating mine. So we know that we're in a great place to be going back into production. Management board, we have a proven track record. One of our largest shareholders is Victoria Gold. They have 24%. Management and ownership is 7%. And we're all locked up within the company because we're all working to move this project forward. So one of the other things that's really important to me as a female CEO in this industry is environment, social, and governance. We're very focused on that. Half of our team is women. We have award-winning reclamations for our Santa Fe project that they gave out years ago to the company for the reclamation work that we continue to monitor. We also, on the quarterly reports, we have to monitor the air quality and the water. So when you're thinking about taking this back into production, that's another check off your list of de-risking the asset because we're already doing it. The Bureau of Land Management isn't going to come to us and say, well, what about the air and water quality? Because we're already doing these things. So we're very conscious of this, and we are working with a group that we haven't announced to the public yet, but we're behind the scenes working with a group to help us put together a carbon offset style agreement for our drill program that we'll be talking about, as well as taking it back into production, because it's quite a long process. So we're starting now with that. Board of Management. John McConnell is the CEO of Victoria Gold, a very large company. They have a big open pit in the Yukon. So when you look across our board, Brian Marr is also a founder of the company. He's the VP of Exploration. Between myself and my partner, Brian, we have put 4 mines in production. We know how to do it. And really, when you look at our board, you just need to remember it's a well-rounded board, knows how to put projects in production, know how to finance them, and move them forward through exploration development to production. This is what it looks like on the ground. It's absolutely gorgeous. The most important part that you should see here is you have road access right here. You have a power line that goes behind this hill to a substation that's on our property that is monitored by the Nevada Energy Group. Right here in this dark spot, that's our Santa Fe pit. Our neighbor over here that's mining. And then these pits here, they're very small. And what's exciting about this is what it tells you is they mine this at the end of mine life because the oxide, the gold and silver, starts at the surface. So they were just looking for the next shovel to make money before they got bought out, because they got bought out by a large company. But what it left us was lots and lots of oxide starting at the surface. And we've drilled it down to 300 meters. It's still all in oxide, so all extractable through heap leaching. And when we think about a mine plan, we will start here because we don't have to lay back dirt to get to the gold and silver. It's already at the surface. So you would have a rapid payback for once you go to build the mine and you get debt financing. It's less than 2 years. So it's a very good economic situation. So when you break down the resource to date that we've publicized, it shows you 1.11 million ounces in indicated, 0.55 in inferred. What this tells you is we have a lot of mineralization. The average grade is 1.12 gold EQ, so that's gold and silver, but mostly gold. It's a big system, and we've continued to grow it since we've had this asset. The historic mining at the property was here at the Santa Fe pit. This is the largest pit on the property. Slab, Calvada, and York. So we have been very focused in drilling in and around these areas because we know that there's lots more mineralization here. We also believe that this is going to become one big pit, and then the slab is going to be a big pit this way, and Santa Fe is just going to continue to grow. We have a district scale land package of 26 square kilometers, which is fantastic. We just picked up all this ground. A major had it, Anglo Gold. They forgot to file their fees, and we ended up picking this up organically. So it's just adding to what we have. Fortitude is our neighbor that's currently mining same mineralization and is mining about 50,000 ounces a year. Our project, we're looking at mining about 100,000 ounces a year. So it's going to be a big operation. This is just a high-level mag drone look at the project, all those beautiful colors. It's a Triassic hosted rock system, but what's important to see here is it's the gold and silver is found in all the structures where they collide into each other. So you see these structures going these different directions. Once they hit each other, you have these heat engines that come up to the surface that brings up the gold and silver. So over here at the Santa Fe pit, this black line on our maiden resource estimate that we published to the market, this is our conceptual pit, and we have the same things over here. But what's interesting about this, you see all these other colors outside of that. Now, those are all mineral blocks that have been drilled that just didn't have the drill density for us to pull it into our resource. So right now, we are updating that resource because we've been drilling in these areas to add to it. Here's what the Santa Fe pit looks like. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can see in this high wall here, this is all orange. That's all oxide gold and silver mineralization. This is the Santa Fe structure that comes through the pit. What's important to note about this is because of these structures colliding underneath this pit, we have about 50 meters down below this, we have grades of 110 grams over 5 meters. It is really, really, really high grade. So what it tells us is a really strong system. So when you think about the mine life here, you would mine all these beautiful oxides, and then you would get down to sulfides, which is normally done underground. But because you have an open pit, you would just drift in. So it's very, very low cost. Another important thing to note is there's no water at the bottom. So you're way above the water table. So lots of important things about this because it just tells you there's lots of mineralization left to be found. This is back over the slab Calvada area, and you can see all these blue lines. This is drilling we did last year, and this is meant to bring in all those beautiful blocks, which we've been very successful with, that will be added into our next report to the market. And this is what it looks like. As you can see from the earlier picture, very small pits, but it gets us very excited because you're just going to start shoveling here into gold and silver once we start mining. This is really important to me because I'm a very competitive person. I want to have the best quality asset we can have in any jurisdiction we work in. And this top chart here, 1.12 gold EQ, although 1 gram rock doesn't sound high grade, it's really, really high grade in Nevada. I mean, so we have a few neighbors that are mining 0.35 rock and they're making money, and that's a very low grade deposit. But if they can make money, everybody can make money. But it just shows you within the Nevada and the Great Basin region, our grade is one of the highest on the charts. The chart here below, that's where our main resource came out last year, and the numbers of ounces in the ground are continuing to grow. Last year, we chose to start our baseline studies. Now, this study is really important for the future of the project because basically what it does is it sterilizes the asset. Everything in yellow, that's 12.2 square kilometers. This is all about sterilizing this land so that we can drill, but more importantly, we can mine it without having to do another document going forward. So this is a 5-season growing season process. So you can't slow this down. You have to go through spring, summer, and fall looking for certain botanicals, raptors, culture resources. We have, since we started this program, have gone through all of those studies, and I'm very happy to report that there's been no surprises come up in a bad or great way. It's just it is what it is. Everything's gone quite well, and they're in the writing stage. So once this is in the hands of the Bureau of Land Management, this is a process for us to get a permit to head back to production. This is just a timeline of that process. Last year, we also had something really exciting happen. We had the largest metallurgy company, Kappas Cassidy. In our minds, they invented heap leaching, and they're very good. They're world-renowned group to work with when you're looking at doing all these studies to mitigate all the risk you need to do for mining. And this study, they came to me and said, Kimberly, I love your project. We would love to help you build this. Could we please take all of your data and write a report for you for free to give you an idea of where to go, because we all know that once you take a project in production, you need to make sure that you've done enough metallurgy work and engineering and everything else. And so what they did was they took all that data and they came back and said your recoveries are 74.4% for gold, 29% for silver at half-inch crushed rock. Well, that is exactly what they had back in the day when they were mining it. So it matches perfectly. So when we look at all this information, not only does it audit out properly, but we know that we can optimize it, maybe to get to 80% for gold, like our neighbors have done. But it's just a really good study for us, because now they're taking all this data plus our drilling and putting it into a preliminary economic assessment, which tells us the details of where all the engineering is going to go on the property, where the heap leach pads are, the mine life, how much it's going to cost to build it. It's very detailed out, and it allows us to take that document, show the market, which we're anticipating to have out in September, and then turn around and go get debt financing and start talking to the market in Q1 of next year about we're building it. This picture off to your left is from mining from Corona Gold back in the day. This is 1988. This is where the admin site was, the Santa Fe pit over here, the Prague Pond. So it's kind of fun to see this picture, but nothing's really changed, because when you think about, you're working on the same project. So where are you going to put the admin site? Well, I'm going to put the admin site right next to the substation that's already there, and what they did in the past. So when the government looks at this, they go, oh, of course, that's what you're going to do. So it allows us to check things off our list with the government to get this permit through much quicker than other people, right? And this is just another timeline chart of that process. As I said in the beginning, we picked up another asset called West Santa Fe. I tasked my team to find me more oxide ounces organically that we could put in our portfolio for the future of this project. So when we go back into production, it has a long mine life because of having another asset to go with it. We picked this up. It's 13 square kilometers away, all these beautiful colorizations. That's all gold and silver mineralization. Our projects are across the valley. It's by road access. It takes 10 minutes to drive back and forth. It's a 19 square kilometer land package. It was mined for silver back in the day, so it's got a lot of silver in the system. It does have 171 historic drill holes, 13,000 meters of drilling. This picture on the right is a leapfrog model. It's just a conceptual model of the mineralization from the drilling to date, from that they drilled in 85, 86. But what it shows you is it starts at the surface. It's all oxide, plus 1 gram rock. These are very shallow drilling because it's old drilling. But what it tells you is there's an envelope here, there's an envelope over here. It obviously needs more drilling. But what it tells us is this could be a 500,000 to 1 million ounce system. And if we could take just 50,000 ounces more a year from here and plop it over to Santa Fe proper when we're in production, that's a really big deal. So we picked this up for very inexpensive, and we're really happy about that. We are in the middle of preparing ourselves for doing our first round of drilling here. And so the team went out and started doing rock chip samples and really studying the property. Excuse me. This is a Mindora shaft. This is where the silver production came out of. This was done in 1930, so it's old, but what it tells us, there's a lot of silver in the system, so we need to study this much more. But I mean, look over here, just the rock chip samples, 2.61 gold, almost 900 silver. So this is a strong system all by itself, which we're looking forward to discovering more about this later on. As I said earlier, it's a low cost deal for our company, low risk. It's a 7-year option agreement. It's back-end loaded, $1.8 million. So what that means is the first year we paid a whole $10,000 to hold this. Next year it's $20,000 and so on. You pay the big chunk at the end. We have to spend 1.4 million in expenditures on this property. It has a royalty of 2% that we can buy down to 1 for 200,000. So basically what this tells you is we're going to focus on this for the next year, because if it's not there, if we don't like what we see, then we hand the project back and it costs us a whole 10,000 and plus legal fees. So very low cost operation, but the upside is huge. So some of the catalysts for this year, yesterday we announced Kappas Cassidy doing our PEA. That's our preliminary economic study for the project. They will start this week and hopefully have that published by September. We will also be telling the world very soon that we'll be doing a 3,000 meter Santa Fe drill program. That's to do just a little more drilling in areas that, after we've studied the data from our last drill program, that we want to bolster that up. And then, of course, the plan of operations studies that are going on, that's really important for the project. People will be hearing more about that. Plus, at the end of the year, probably Q4, we'll start drilling over at West Santa Fe. So lots going on, lots of news flow for everybody to see. But really, the message with this is we're fast-tracking Santa Fe back into production. Q1 of next year, we're going to be talking about production and how much it's going to cost, and really fast-tracking the building of the asset. We haven't been public too long, so the markets have been as crazy as we've all seen them be, but I think we're really in a good position at this point. Victoria Gold still owns 24%. K Gold is myself and my business partner. We have good institutional followings this round. We added Extract Capital to that. But APAC, ESA, Palos, and Goodman, all of them are great funds. They've come in every round since we started the company. I've come in every round since we started the company. So, we're all really dedicated to what's happening here. We have good liquidity. We trade about 900,000 shares a day. But herein lies the runway of opportunity in my mind. The Great Basin area, with the markets being unstable, I'd like to say, in the past couple of years, we're not really getting, the dollar ounce in the ground like we should be. But I do believe, because we're going to be putting out this PEA and this drilling, you're going to see a huge re-rate for the company, because people are now starting to pay attention of what we really have. So it's a really exciting time to be investing in this company. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Kimberly. Very interesting, I may say. Could I just kick off here with asking, how did you get access to the assets? I understand that they stopped production, but why you? I mean, what did you have what did you offer to the seller that no one else did, or were you the only bidder?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I have a private company with assets in Nevada specifically that, I bring in projects, I clean them up, and then find where they need to go. I have a fantastic team in Nevada that I always want to keep working. So I always have that going, and people know that. For example, big companies like Hochschild and foreign companies that want to have mining in the States, we do for them. So we do a turnkey style operation, which is great for us, because we get to advance projects with big companies' dollars and see what we have, and then add to our network of projects. But it really came together. My last company, I had a copper gold assets in Peru. And when I formed that company, it was a private company. I called some friends of mine, Victoria Gold management and board. They're all very good friends of mine, and said, "Do you guys want to invest in this company?" And then I got another big fund, and basically we did one round of financing, and within 22 months we sold the company for 15-fold for our shareholders and merged it into a public company. It was a very good deal for our shareholders. But for example, when you think about jurisdictions, I was trying to get a drill permit that entire time, and I still didn't have it by the time I sold the company, because the jurisdiction takes more time to even drill. But basically, out of that relationship, of that company, and the shareholders, the Victoria Gold team, came to me and said, look, Kimberly, you've had great success. We have one asset left in Nevada. We don't have time to put, people there. Would you be willing to take it on? So we formed a company around the Santa Fe asset and my assets, and we were off and running. And so it really came out of professional relationships that we've all wanted to work together for a long time, and the trust of, I know if I hand the Santa Fe project over to you, you'll take good care of it. And that's how we started. It's very fun.
So they need you as much as you needed the assets, one could say.
Yeah, I mean, the Santa Fe asset is one of the highest grade development style projects in Nevada right now. There's nobody else that is further down the path to production as far as permitting, ounces in the ground, sizability, than anyone else that's not in production right now. So yeah, I wanted that asset the second he offered it to me.
And can I just highlight one question here, which is of an environmental sort of question, and that's heap leach. And everybody will understand, obviously, heap leach may have some effect on the environment. So how do you tackle that?
Well, we've tackled it quite well before I even existed this project. For the past 30 years, we've been doing all that monitoring of the water and the air quality. We have to check all 3 wells on a quarterly basis. We do have a $500,000 bond with the Bureau of Land Management that is required because we're considered a mine under closure. So we have to do all these studies, and you are specifically looking for cyanide in the water and air. And I'm knock on some wood here, but we've never had any signs of that. We also reclaimed the heap leach pads that's required from mining in the past. Those earned awards, world-renowned awards from the Bureau of Land Management. So we've been doing a very good job taking care of our project, and I'm very happy to see that there's no cyanide leaking anywhere. So yeah, we're fortunate.
And can I just expose my ignorance here when it comes to mining in general, and gold mining in particular here? But you showed us the slide where you had 1.12 grams per ton, and that's from the open pit. But if I recall correctly, you mentioned that in Santa Fe, 50 meters below, you had as much as 110 grams per ton.
Yeah.
Did I hear correctly there?
You did, and we focused to the market on the 1.12 gold EQ, which is the oxide ounces, because heap leaching is a very easy process. It's very low cost, and that's at the surface. So we're going to mine that first. However, underneath, deeper in the system, is very high grade, but it's sulfide. So what that means is you need a different style of processing. So once you extract all the oxides, once you get to the sulfides, you're going to have to do a whole nother processing system plus permitting for it. And so to not confuse the market of talking about both, we are focused on the oxide, but what I do like to point out is what it tells us most importantly is there's massive deep heat engines that are coming up to the surface, dropping all the oxides, closer up into the system. So we're going to mine all that oxide first. For example, our neighbor, 42 Gold, they've been mining for 7 or 8 years, about 50,000 ounces a year, 2-gram rock. They are now down at the sulfides, and now they're having to permit those sulfides, and they're high grade as well. So it's just deeper in this system, but very strong heat engine.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. But I can't help but thinking that you are in number 1 jurisdiction, so when you need a permit, that may help, and you have a strong owner. So a future is looking very interesting here, even for the 50 meters below ground.
Yeah.
I may say so. You mentioned also that the mines have been producing, and then they stopped producing because of the gold price. How important is the gold price for you at this stage and going forward? If I'm an investor, what do you want me to look for when I see the gold price and then look at Lahontan?
Well, that's a great question as well. first of all, we run our models at $1,850 gold. We try to keep a 5-year kind of average when we're looking at your mining production. But, our all-in sustaining cost is what we think it's going to be. Now we have to have our third party come back to us and agree with us, but we think it's about $900 to $1,000 an ounce. So when you look at the gold prices today, yes, all the costs have gone up over the years, but they haven't gone up that much for mining. So when we look at the gold and silver prices, right now, obviously gold's at a record high in the past few months, but silver's also, coupled and doing the same thing. Now, our 1.12 gold EQ is gold and silver. So if they're both moving up, the more money we're going to make off this, right? So that's important, but we're not like, sensitive to that, because we still can make money at $1,500 gold, like a lot of money. So it's not a sensitive thing for us, which is important, because when you're mining 0.35 rock, there's a lot more sensitivities to the models you have to look at.
But the key metric here then for an investor should be to look for, or at least have in the back of the mind, $1,500 you're still profitable at that.
Yeah, we're still making about $500 an ounce.
Okay, yeah.
So that's not bad.
Well, that's nice. And could I also just highlight yet again my ignorance here, but the PEA, the preliminary economic assessment, and I understand that you are to be able to produce a PEA in September. Was that correct?
Yeah, our goal is to have that out the first couple of weeks of September, because that coincides with the timeline of our permitting process. And that document is really important for us because it's a third party coming to us and saying, okay, you have an 8 to 10 year mine life, 100,000 ounces a year. It's going to cost you X to build it. And that document we can take to debt funds, etc., to raise money, royalty companies. Our asset is very royalty light, so we have lots of optionality when we want to go find the funds to build it. So we're not going to be diluting the shareholders to find that funding. I used to work for a $5 billion fund, so I know what the requirements are for what they will fund based on having a very good document to prove to them and give them comfort, in giving debt out. So this is a really important document to show the public of what we really have on a numbers basis.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned something here that you didn't really get the dollar for the gold that you have now in the share price evaluation. So would it be a correct assessment then to say that when you produce your preliminary economic assessments, not only will the professional, let's say the funder or finance institutions, be able to give you lower the discount or indeed put a premium on you, but also the stock market, the valuation will, all things equal, increase?
Yes, we believe that right now is really the runway that's happening. I mean, we're trading tons of shares. I've had several different banking groups call me asking if I knew of any blocks that could be sold because, they're having a hard time buying in the market right now. So that's a good problem to have. We have a long ways to go. And I think right now is a perfect time to be buying because, the price is low right now, but I don't believe it's going to be this in September, especially when that economic assessment comes out. And keep in mind from May 15th-ish through the summer, we're going to have a drill rig going. So we're going to have lots of data, positive information on that people should really, be impressed with.
Thank you. That was an excellent segue to my next question. It's like we have rehearsed this. But I mean, the next milestone, apart from the PEA, that would be when you start operating the drill rig. Or is there anything else that we should be looking for, considering where you are in your development? Yeah,
so we, as I said, I don't even know if I said this, but we just closed $3.5 million financing. So when you close the financing, people love drill holes, right? They want to see the drilling. Waiting for permits isn't that exciting for people, but it will be very exciting when people really see what that document means. But yes, we've raised the money. We're well funded. We're starting the drill rig, and we'll have that data coming out. So, I'm telling, it's kind of like a breadcrumb to production that's going to be coming up, and it's going to be bi-weekly. You're going to see press releases out of what we have going on. So it's going to be really exciting over the summer months.
Excellent, thank you for that. And as it happens, bi-weekly, you will be in Scandinavia and in Stockholm, to be more precise, on the 22nd. So if anyone has any further questions, then obviously one can put them to you there in person. But in the meantime, where should one turn to if one needs more information?
They can go to our website at lahontangoldcorp.com. I have my phone number and email on this page, as you can see here, but it's also on the website. I don't have people call investor relation person. I like to be in communication with all my shareholders. So email me. I'm happy to talk to any of our shareholders.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, Kimberly. And a reminder then to our Swedish viewers is that there is a time difference here. You were up very early in the morning, so maybe one should email if one have a question daytime in yes, Stockholm, maybe. That is. Anyway, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and looking forward to see you.
Thank you so much.
Och med det så säger vi tack ska ni ha och på återseende. Hej då!